Going to get started now. I just want to make sure and double check that you are here for the recycling workshop because there's also a mobile park town hall meeting across the way. So, all right. So good evening and welcome to our recycling workshop. My name is Josh Sintacruz. I am the Public Works Management Analyst. It's great to see you all here today in our common goal of promoting sustainable waste management practices. This is being recorded as well, so if you know somebody who wanted to attend and couldn't make it, it'll be posted on our city's website. So you can direct them to the city's website and they'll be able to view it from there. So we received a lot of feedback from the community, and this is why we're bringing this presentation forward to you guys. And we see the importance. We think it's important to get back to the basics of recycling and waste reduction. So we're excited for EDCO to come here today and present. They're the city's franchise waste hauler, and they're here to help us guide in our efforts to help us achieve the road to zero waste. So I'm pleased to introduce our team of experts from EDCO. First, we have Jim Ambrosio, and talk a little bit about him. He has worked in the solid waste and recycling industry for over 35 years. He's served as a president, vice president, and general manager for both private and public waste service companies in both Illinois and California. Jim came to California 25 years ago when Allied Waste acquired the solid waste system from the county of San Diego. Jim took over the management of that system and over the course of time assumed management oversight for much of Allied Waste and Republic Services waste company operations in Southern California. In March of 2020, Jim joined EDCO as the general manager for North County operations, which includes the facilities in San Marcos, Escondido, and Fallbrook. Before joining EDCO, Jim spent 5 years developing recycling methods for organic waste, which includes food waste. After learning that EDCO had already started construction on an organics recycling plant, Jim was excited to join the company and help area residents and businesses establish sustainable collection and processing programs. And so next we have Chris Spielmaker. After an extensive sales career that took her throughout the Western United States, she joined EDCO in 1991 as a sales representative, and since then she's been promoted to recycling sales coordinator, sales manager, director of customer service, and to her current position, director of market development. And she's leading and implementing and expanding commercial organics recycling programs throughout North County, San Diego. She is also a certified practitioner in zero waste principles and practice. And finally, we have Maria Gomez, who has been with EDCO Waste and Recycling for over 16 years. In her duties as field representative, she is responsible for the implementation of recycling and organics mandates that meet the state requirements in the cities she serves, which includes Vista and San Marcos. Previously, she held the position of customer service, which entailed daily interactions with customers seeking information and solutions in a professional and positive manner. She also serves on the San Marcos Boys and Girls Club Board and the Vista Chamber Ambassador Committee. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to EDCO, and they're going to begin their presentation. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to applaud you or compliment you for just coming out this evening. I think a lot of folks were intimidated by the weather, or thought what the weather was going to be, and thought, oh no, we're going to have to come through the rain. But fortunately, it held up for us, so we could get out and enjoy this evening together here. As Josh said, my name is Jim, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of EDCO to discuss or give you an update on what's been going on in our solid waste and recycling activities here in the city of Vista and across the region. It's been a very exciting time to be involved in this business and to provide this service to the city of Vista. Tonight we're going to just review the program of what we've been rolling out over the last several years with respect to recycling, and we're going to cover in detail not only traditional recycling, but we're going to look at organics recycling, something that's new and hopefully most of you are getting familiar with. We're going to talk about construction and demolition recycling. We're going to talk about how to manage household hazardous waste, which is something that is always get a lot of questions on that, and we want to make sure we handle that properly. We're going to talk about our special services and just some of the things that folks run into from time to time, not sure what to do with. We're going to try to answer some of those questions tonight, and in the end, I hope that we answer all of your questions so that you can walk out of here and be experts in the field of recycling and solid waste. I want to call you all, I'll give you a certificate, maybe I'll call you garbologists or maybe recycologists or something like that. We'll come up with some term, but you'll be hopefully better prepared to help us all do a better job on this going forward. EDCO has had the privilege of working in Vista here now for a number of years, and we really see this as a long-term partnership. And I want to emphasize the word partnership. This city is just a fabulous city that has embraced its role in promoting really good programs for not only picking up trash, but the recycling programs. And even today we had a meeting with Cal Recycle, and some of the staff here were on that call and did a really good job of just engaging and talking about the future, talking about how we can do better. And the state of California is very pleased with the programs here in the city of Vista. So you have a really good team, and we're fortunate to be partners with them and to be able to help out. As you can see, EDCO is a family-owned and operated company still. We've been in business for 56 years. The owners started their company right here in San Diego County, I think in La Mesa, if I'm not mistaken, but down in one of the suburbs there. We don't own any landfills, and I think that's really important for you to hopefully see. And our mission is to recycle, recycle, recycle. We don't want to put things in landfill. We want to move it into the recycling containers, and we have, as you're going to see, we've made a significant investment in the infrastructure to help make that happen. And so our job is not only to build it and hope it will come, but to help you and us figure out together how to make it come. So we're going to talk tonight a lot about how we can do better in recycling at home, in our businesses, so we can support the infrastructure that's out there, so we can all do better recycling. We have over 500 employees just here in northern San Diego County that this team here leads, and we are really honored again to be here to serve the city. I guess I got a point. There we go. Oh, I think that's one. I'm going to jump right into this, I think. Yeah, I jumped ahead one maybe. Let me see if I go back one. There we go. So being at a waste service and recycling provider here in the city, we have the privilege of providing those services to all the customers in the city, all the residents, the businesses, multifamily units, and therefore we have to adapt the programs to their needs. Not everybody's needs are the same. And so we offer different size containers, we offer different levels of service as far as days of the week, and even do special services as are required for some of them just to make sure that it gets done properly. But we do offer, again, trash recycling and now green waste and organics, and we'll talk a lot about that in more detail. Oops, I'm messing around with my slides here. So let's get started with the trash program. I think everybody's familiar with the trash side of things. And I'll just state right from the get-go, our mission with trash is to reduce this down so that it becomes the least used part of your system. We want to see less and less trash and more recyclables. And so our mission is to keep pushing it over, as I use the term, migrate material from trash, the gray, into the blue, into the green. And we're going to work hard on doing that over the next number of years together. Again, we offer variable sizes there. The most important thing about that is, trash is one of those things where whatever's left over goes in the trash. If I don't know what to do with it, throw it in the trash. And so it really becomes a catch-all of many, many different things. And as we learn to recycle more, we got to look at that trash and understand what's in there and say, what can we offer? What can we do to move it out of there, as I said earlier? But today there's still a lot of things in there that are difficult to manage. And we have to have a place to manage those. Or else they'd end up thrown in our backyards or on our streets or somewhere in the back 40. So it's important that trash does go into trash containers, and we still manage it in landfills, unfortunately. But again, as we do a better job of figuring out how to recycle more things, we'll migrate it out of there, and it'll be less and less. Batteries, household hazardous waste, things that are toxic still cannot go into the trash cans. People do it all the time, and we have to look for it. We remove it. We try to manage it for you, but it's really important we all learn what should go in there, what shouldn't go in there. Traditional things, household trash, yes. Things that are not recyclable. That's really kind of the word we hope is if it can't be recycled, reclaimed, okay, put it in a trash can and we'll manage it. But again, our mission will be to try to move that away and have the least amount of material in there. In fact, I'll talk more as I get to further down here about how I know in my own experience, we have very, very little trash left over. And if we do a good job recycling, that'll be the case for everybody. So next slide is to take a look at the recycling containers. Everybody's familiar with their blue containers. We've been doing this for 30 years now. I think you're getting good at it. I can tell because we see what's coming in there. And for the most part, people are doing a really good job of separating material and putting just the required materials in their blue carts. Some still put plastic bags in there. We don't like those. Some people just look at a container they might have bought at the store. It's plastic, may have some metal on it, may have a different type of plastic. Maybe it's got film around it, and they're going, I'm not sure. They just throw it in there, right? So we get a lot of recyclable material in that blue container that isn't recyclable, and we do pull those things out. We try to remove those contaminants. But as we do events like this, our mission is to try to educate, and help us understand what is recyclable today. I will say that one of the things we do focus on is working with the state legislature and some organizations to try to promote better manufacturing of products that are recyclable. There's the Product Stewardship Council that looks at, encourages companies to please design a bottle out of one type of plastic. So it's 100% recyclable, not containing 2 or 3 different types of material. It just isn't. Josh. Yeah.
So my question is, what about the plastics that you find that have triangles on them that, they say they're recyclable, but look like they're recyclable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the question is, what about some bottles or cans or that have a triangle on them that's supposed to tell you what kind of recyclable it is, and they don't have a number in there, or you're not sure if it is or isn't? I think that's a good segue into my next slide. We've been handing these out to try to get information out there as to what is recyclable, and you're right, at least particularly on bottles, plastics, they typically have a 1 through 7 number on the bottom of that, and that is it gives you an indication of the type of plastic that is made of. Not all bottles are accurate that way. If the majority of it is PET, they'll put that number 3, I think it is in PET, on the bottom of that, and it may have other plastic types on there too. But they at least try to give you some idea of what type of material it is for recycling purposes. If it doesn't have a number on it, again, hopefully you can look at it and see, is it clear plastic? Is it milky plastic? Or is it hard plastic, soft plastic? Typically, put it in your recycling bin. We'll figure out if it's recyclable or not. You'll learn here, we have some pretty sophisticated equipment today, technology-wise, that can identify the types of plastics with a light beam, and we'll eject it off the belt if it's, depending on what type it is. So I don't have to make the decision and stop the belt and look at every bottle. What is this? The machines do it very quickly, efficiently, and do a good job at it. So of the materials, though, that we list here, this is our traditional recycling list. And most of you have all seen these, but a couple things is that I'd point out our paper and fiber material, cardboard, we get a lot of questions now, well, what if it's contaminated? What should I do with it? Take the pizza box, for example. In the past, we always said pizza boxes, do not put them in your blue recycling bin. For good reason. It has cheese on it, oil, it ruins the quality of that fiber. It can't really be recycled again. So today, I'll say to you, only the clean cardboard, clean paper should go in your blue container. But we'll be talking about organics next, and you can put that now in your green cart, and we can recycle it there. So now we have a good option for those contaminated fiber materials. Shredded paper, some of you shred paper, some of you take advantage of the shred events that we do offer in the community, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But if you do have shredded paper or have a shredder at home, please put it in a bag for us, a clear bag preferably, so that when it gets there, we can see it, identify it, and we can then make sure it gets managed. Otherwise, it gets everywhere. Sir?
Question, so plastics, number 1 through number 7, all inclusive, so if it doesn't have a number on it, it may not be recycled, but it's okay still, it looks recyclable, put it in.
Yeah. It's really difficult to make a choice on that or decision. Oh, I got to repeat the question. He said, so if there is a container that has a triangle with no number in it, it's okay to put it in there? And the answer is yes. We'll figure that out. I would much prefer you put it in, that we try to recycle it. We have a stream, number 5 through 7s. We have an opportunity to combine a lot of those, and even some of those that are questionable. There's markets out there that can take that and still remold it. Maybe it's going to be made into like a lawn, what do they call it, edging material, something that's not a high quality plastic anymore, black, brown, something we can add color to, and you can actually reuse it and repurpose it that way. It doesn't have to be high quality, versus a drinking water bottle has to be not only high quality, has to be cleaned, has to be repurposed back to something that's a really superior PET quality container. Okay? So again, the plastics, the only thing we ask is please watch out for the plastic bags. We get a lot of questions about what kind of plastic bags. Are you talking a trash bag that I just load up, and throw everything in there? Yeah, we don't want those. But we also don't want the grocery bags. A lot of people take their grocery bags and throw all their recyclables in there and throw that into their blue container. Those grocery bags are really difficult to recycle today. I wish there were better markets for that, but they're not. You can take them to some of the stores, some of the grocery stores will take them back. I'm not sure if Lowe's or some of the other larger big box stores, they do take them back, but we remove them. We will bail them up. We'll try to find a market, but there's not many markets for small plastic bags today. And that's pretty much what's left in the waste stream after you do a lot of the good recycling, is just the plastic film. I want to comment on the rinsing on the bottom left there. There's a tin can, and it says, please rinse out your containers. And we get those questions all the time. The one I love is the peanut butter jar. Everyone holds up and says, what about that peanut butter jar? Do I have to wash that thing out? What a miserable job, right? Yeah, it's miserable. So a couple suggestions. Number 1, if you have a pet, a dog, they love to lick it out for you. So you can actually cut it in half, or be careful to scoop it out, but they will actually empty that nicely for you. The other thing I recommend, now that we can recycle paper products in our green cart, take some paper towels and wipe the peanut butter out of it and put that right into your green cart. By then you'll have it mostly cleaned, and mostly cleaned is just fine. Okay? Yeah. Sure. There you go. So she made a suggestion that on a peanut butter jar, you can boil water and put it in there, and it will actually remove or dissolve much of the oils so that it can pour right out of there, and you have a clean jar. So there are things like that you can do still to handle peanut butter. But with respect to most plastic containers, metal containers, glass, we used to be really firm, clean it, clean it, clean it. And we would use a lot of water, detergents, sometimes washing, making sure everything's sparkly clean, and then recycle it. Don't have to worry about that too much anymore. Most of the markets that take these materials have figured we're not going to clean it very well. And so they've built machinery into their processes that will actually clean it when they get it. Aluminum, metal, they burn it at such high temperatures anyway that whatever's on there will be probably burned. But even the plastics, the glass, they've learned to process it and remove the contaminants. So it's not an absolute. Please do rinse it, get the chunks out of there if you can, but it's not necessary to make it sparkly clean. Okay? All right, let's move on from recycling. And by the way, you'll have opportunity to ask some questions later if need be. So the newest level of recycling that we've embarked on in the last couple of years is organic waste recycling. This is in response to state laws that were passed several years ago that made it mandatory for everyone to recycle their organic waste. That includes our residents, businesses, multifamily, local government, everybody has to do this. And so 2 years ago, we started this program, and residentially, if you live here in the city of Vista, you hopefully received brochures from EDCO along with a caddy. We have caddies back on the table back there, but you should have received a caddy to help you with recycling your organic waste in your kitchens. We knew it would be important to have some mechanism to separate it in your kitchen. If you didn't capture it there, it's going to end up in your trash. So we have to have some means, like we do with recyclables, some way to separate. So if you've got food scraps, if you've got paper, soiled paper, paper plates, paper cups, napkins, unless you have a place to put that when you're scraping it or finishing a meal, it's going to go in the trash, right? So we offered the caddy. The caddy is just a tool. It's something that works well for many people, but not for everyone. And so we've encouraged you to just find what works for you. Some people need a bigger container. They have a large family. You're going to go through 3 or 4 caddies in a day and fill that thing up. My advice to you is use paper bags or get a bigger container. We do encourage wrapping your scraps, we call it, taking paper, usually something like a paper bag, but if you get a lot of Amazon stuff or packages, they throw this paper packing in there. You can lay that out, put your scraps on it, and wrap it up, throw it in your green cart. In my house, we use paper bags, and it works really, really well to absorb the moisture, to keep the insects out, and when we're finished at the end of the day or a couple of days, we roll it up, take it out to our green cart, and drop it in there, and it really helps keep the cart clean, too. You have a question here? That's a good question. She said there's a lot of green, biodegradable, compostable bags that are out there. Are they better to use as liners? Because will they break down? And the answer to that is not yet. Not yet. We have been testing those bags and looking for them, and unfortunately, most of them, while they say they're biodegradable or compostable, they still have some level of plastic in them. And the material, when it does breaks down into like a glob of gooey stuff, and it doesn't work. Yeah. We are optimistic. They will come up with something. And we're actually testing something right now that's made out of some microbes in the ocean. And we're hopeful that it's not being plastic. It might have some promise. But till then, I really encourage you to use paper bags. Paper bags do work well. And just try to eliminate the plastic if you can. So again, with respect to the organics program, we started with the residents, and then last year we started working with the commercial businesses, and we're going to wrap that up next month here in Vista, where all of the businesses will have a ability to recycle their organic waste. The goal there was to really move organic component out of the trash into the green container. We are proud to offer that green container as an option, rather than giving you a 4th container and asking you to separate things into yet another container, have another truck go down the street. Didn't want to do that. We have a system set up to commingle it, so you can mix green waste, if you have green waste, food waste, paper products, these things together. Paper, again, I want to remind you, if it's clean, put it in your blue. If it's contaminated with food, like napkins, paper plates, cups, put it in the green. Okay, if you can keep that distinction, we'll be able to recycle all of that and keep it out of the gray. So it's just a matter of getting the behavior down and doing a good job. We'll migrate things out of that gray container and recycle, recycle, recycle. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. This kind of gives a list that you may have seen in some of our brochures, but it kind of lays out a whole bunch of other things that we can go into that green container. Most any type of food. We even include meat and bones in there. And as well, you can combine it with grass clippings, yard clippings, things that you're picking up in the yard can also go in there too. So when it's all together like that, I'll talk in a second about how we manage all of that combined. Again, it's one container, and so it keeps it a little simple for you. One thing I will caution, we are seeing a lot of traditional landscaping waste being included, but people are throwing rocks in there like they've always done. They throw dirt in there. We really don't want that. The dirt and the rocks need to go back in the gray container because we have an anaerobic digester that I'm going to talk about. It's a big tank, and when we put the rocks in there, guess what happens to the rocks? They go right to the bottom, and they stay there. So we don't want to fill this big tank up with rocks over time. We have to get them out of there. So it's really helpful if we keep the rocks out now, reuse them in your landscaping somehow, figure out a creative way to put them in a garden somewhere for decorating if you can, but if not, put them in your gray container and we'll manage it from there. But it should be just organics that are going in there. We have some really good videos, by the way, on our website. If you go to the Vista EDCO website under resources and look through, there's some really good videos that'll show you how to recycle organics and some tips in there on how to do that well. So the other thing that EDCO I mentioned earlier is we're a recycling company. We don't own landfills, and so we've made a significant investment in recycling facilities. It's one thing to say we're going to recycle, but unless we have someplace to take it, it's not going to work well. So we've built our own facilities. We've got lots of them right here in San Diego County. We've got 2 recycling MRFs, we call it. They're material recovery facilities. We have construction demolition recycling facilities, several of those here in the county, transfer stations, an anaerobic digester that's for the food waste and organics. We also have a composting and mulching facility up in Ramona that we are using here. But again, it's no landfills. We don't want to have anything to do with those. As far as the facilities go, right here in Escondido, we have, frankly, one of the largest and best recycling plants, certainly in the state of California and maybe around the country. It's a very large facility, and the picture really doesn't do it justice because we process 50 tons an hour over a period of 20 hours a day. It's a massive factory. If you can imagine, no, you can't imagine, this room full of recyclables, that's about how much we process in a day through this plant. It's a lot of blue container material. The beauty of it is that we all put it in our blue cans all mixed together, right? Our bottles, cans, cardboard, plastics, all that stuff. And it goes into this machinery, and by the time it comes out, it's all separated into nice products. Really good quality products that are able to market. Several years ago, China, which received a lot of material from all the recycling facilities in the world, decided they didn't want to take anything contaminated. And so they called the Chinese wall a little bit, like, you know, only good stuff. I want you to know that EDCO never stopped shipping their stuff. Our quality was so good that they kept receiving our material. And it's because of the investment we made in the machinery to do a good job. It's technology driven and we continually improve it. I will tell you that one day there's going to be lots of robots in those facilities. AI technology is improving dramatically where they can recognize and identify things on a belt and all day long they can remove it. So it's one of those things that we just have to continue to evolve with it because it's going to get better and better and help us separate the things that we know are important to separate. So the next thing we invested in was an anaerobic digester. And this is the picture of the facility we built right here in Escondido. These green tanks are the digesters. They're large tanks that are completely enclosed and designed to take all this commingled organic material, green waste, the food waste, products that we put inside this machine. And inside there are microbes that are designed to, in an anaerobic airless environment, break down the organic material into renewable natural gas, which is called methane, that we extract off the top of the tanks, and we use it to power our trucks. You may have noticed our trucks now are running on renewable natural gas, and so we can actually convert our organic material into renewable fuel to burn in our trucks at a very low carbon footprint impact. And the second thing that comes out of there then is digestate, or a solid material that looks like compost. And we take that material and we dry it up, and we ship it out to a compost site where we're commingling it with compost now. And the finished product is a really valuable material that has great carbon in it, as well as nutrients that are preserved and going right back out into the agricultural community where all this food came from. So, and for the garden, it's coming. It's a good thing to do, to put it right back out there. So we're excited to have this technology here. We started this up 2 years ago when we launched our organics programs, and it's working really, really well. And we're excited now to continue to expand this as we get into the business community, because the business community has a lot of organic material, right? Restaurants, kitchens, commercial kitchens, hospitals, and all that material can go in there, and it will produce a lot of gas. So we're excited to keep pumping that business, or the commercial side of it as well. Question?
Does methane break down into biodiesel fuel? Like this guy Joe was telling me about, you're getting a biodiesel fuel out of
Well, it's really a renewable fuel, not a biodiesel fuel. A biodiesel is a little different. They make that out of soybeans and some of those vegetable products, grease. This is actually a true methane product that's produced from the bacteria. So the bacteria literally produce methane. Think of your stomach. It's kind of the same kind of bacteria or microbes in our stomachs are doing the same thing. It's what we have there. It produces a gas. The gas is captured and it's pumped directly into the pipeline. So what we produce or introduce to the pipeline is of better quality than what is in there today. We have to clean it, we have to remove the moisture, and then compress it like crazy and get it into the pipeline. So it's not really a biofuel like a liquid fuel, it's truly the gas. It's just captured, cleaned, and injected in the pipeline. Okay. Let's take a look at this process. I'll be brief on this because it's a little science. But in simple terms, we do, as I said, capture the commingled material, green waste, the food waste, and then it goes into our digester facility. Those microbes break it down into those components, and again, we use it for our trucks, and then the solid material is captured and taken and removed back out to the agricultural community. The net result, though, is that the trucks that we were burning diesel fuel in before, now we've eliminated that. We've eliminated that carbon impact, right? And now we have renewable natural gas, which is put us at a carbon negative footprint, so to speak. And so it's much cleaner, and we're really helping from a greenhouse gas standpoint, eliminating those impacts.
If you put that waste into the landfill, it's still going to generate methane over time, right?
Yeah, sure will.
So in other words, that methane's going somewhere, we might as well be using it, right?
Absolutely.
Is there a less GHG output if we burn that in the trucks than we let it percolate up out of the landfill?
Yeah, for sure. The question was, if we remove this from the landfill, our organic waste, is that going to help remove or lower the greenhouse gas impact? The answer is absolutely yes. I used to run a lot of landfills in my past life, and I saw what happens. The gas is released from that landfill all day long, all night for 30, 40 years after the landfill closes. They do have gas collection systems, but they're just not that efficient. And so this is actually the ability to put it in a completely enclosed system that captures 100% of that gas, and we use it to power.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here tonight, and we're really proud of our partnership with EDCO. I wish I could stay for the rest, but we've got a couple of things going on. I'm Vista's Mayor, John Franklin. Appreciate all of you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you being here. Okay, let's go on to some of the other processing we do. Construction demolition waste. That's one of those that we probably don't think much about until you try to do some remodeling or construction around your home or your business. And construction demolition waste makes up probably the greatest proportion of the waste stream by weight. It's very heavy, as we know. If you tore up a patio or some concrete or whatever, it's very, very heavy. And most of the construction waste that we generate can be recycled or repurposed if we just figure out a way to break it into small pieces and sort it out. So over the last several years, EDCO has developed a couple different construction demolition recycling facilities. One right here in San Marcos, where we literally bring in construction waste and we separate a lot of it physically by hand into components of wood, concrete, drywall, metal, things that are normally in those construction loads. And then we separate those and send them off to markets for repurposing. We also have a very large recycling plant for construction material down in Lemon Grove that we built several years ago. It's a monster. It literally takes huge loads of construction waste and shreds it all down into small pieces. And then it breaks it into different components, and it's really effective. When we can get 75% of that material recycled and repurposed, we've made a big dent in what goes to landfills. And so we can really reduce how much material goes there. Again, the wood is something that's biodegradable. If we can repurpose that, we don't have to send it to the landfill. Drywall actually does break down some. So it's really good that we get that material out of there. Let's talk about household hazardous waste, because that's one of them that we get a lot of questions about. We all do our projects at home, and we have lots of leftover paint sometimes, or light bulbs, things that we know, we've heard, we maybe shouldn't put those into the trash anymore, and the answer is we shouldn't. Batteries is a big one. I will tell you, batteries have become a big problem for all of us, and I want to talk specifically about that. Lithium is replacing all the batteries that we used to have, right? Every little gizmo gadget you got's got a little circular lithium battery, or your lawn implements now are practically all electrically driven with a battery pack, and they have a limited life. And so when you have to replace them, what do you do with that battery? Well, I'll tell you, most people are throwing them in the trash or they're throwing them in recycling. And when we get those in our plant, the challenge we have is that they tend to fall out from the load, they fall to the bottom. And when we push it on the floor of our recycling plants, our loaders, big heavy loaders with flat wheels, they run them over. When they run them over, they explode. Those batteries literally explode, and it will be like if these big wide wheels run over that, it just literally shoots sparks out the side. And when that happens, it can start a fire. So if you want to have some fun on Google, just go Google recycling plant fires, and you're going to see plants that have burned down all over the country. We've had our trucks burn, and we've lost several trucks due to batteries. It's a serious matter. We're trying to educate. We are working with our state legislature to pass some legislation to put some more responsibility on the producers to not only inform and educate us, but to provide ways that we can bring them back. Make it easy to recover them and recycle them and keep them out of the waste stream. But that's one thing that we're going to continue to push in our literature to try to help get batteries out. But there's also paints, there's a lot of solvents, there's other things that can cause injury to our employees or cause fires, and they need to be properly managed. Fortunately, here in Vista, there's a household hazardous waste facility on Taylor Street, I believe it is. And it's open on Saturdays from 9 to 3, and we really encourage you to just load that stuff up in your car, pull in there, and they'll take it and they'll manage it there for free. It's part of a regional program that's available, and it's something that we encourage folks to take advantage of for sure. It's easy to throw it away, but please take the time to put it in a box and take a trip over there on a Saturday, and they'll manage it for you. And it'll help keep everybody safer and keep us from burning down our facilities. So this is a little hard to read, but I'll try to just summarize a few things from this. As EDCO, we offer a lot of other collection and special services to you as well. And in the website and in the literature that we try to send out to you on a regular basis, we're highlighting some of these features, and I'm just going to highlight a couple more tonight. We get a lot of questions about our trash day. If there's a holiday, what happens? Is it delayed? Is it not delayed? And you can go straight to the website. Look under there, it says service schedule on the website, and click it, and it'll tell you the holidays and what happens when we have a holiday, what's going to happen to your service. Is it going to be delayed a day or not? We now have an app that is available that you can download. It's the EDCO app, and you can just on your phone plug in the day or look for the holiday schedules, and all that information is right there. If you want to download that, you'll have it right at your fingertips. The other thing is, besides the holiday schedules, we've got some shredding events that have been taking place here in the city for a number of years. You might note this one on June 10th coming up. We'll be working with the city to provide a shred event right here. I think it's right here at City Hall, outside here in the parking lot. And you'll be able to bring materials to shred if you have important documents that aren't important anymore. We can shred those for you right there on the spot. You can bring in electronic waste, and I think we have the ability to provide mulch as well. So if you want to take some mulch back and put it on your gardens, you can do that. There's bulky waste pickup is becoming a big of a challenge as well. That's just, we go out and we replace our refrigerators, our furniture, anything big and large that doesn't fit in those carts. You gotta figure out what to do with it. So there is the opportunity to provide bulky cleanup. We send out to you a coupon in our Environmental Times magazine or newsletter that we send. That coupon you can use to get rid of some of those larger items by taking them up to the Escondido transfer station or Fallbrook transfer station. We have a facility there if it's closer, and you can get rid of those materials for free there. Otherwise, you can contact us and we'll just come to your house and pick them up. There's a fee for that, but we can do that to make it a lot easier. If you can get it to the curb, we'll come and remove it from there. But it blows me away to see how much of that people are getting rid of all the time. Especially during the pandemic, it was interesting. I think people just replaced their hot water heaters, bought a lot of furniture. There was a lot of interesting things that we saw being done. Mattresses are big. There was a run on mattresses during the pandemic. I assure you, we saw thousands of them get picked up. Note on the bottom right there, if you do get rid of a mattress, we do ask that you wrap it in big plastic bags. It's kind of important to protect our employees, and so it's one of the things we do ask you to do is just get those bags and just run some tape around it, and we'll come pick it up for you. But if you have any questions about that, there's information on our website as far as what we can handle there for those bulky items. Last thing I'll mention is special services too. You do have a special project you're doing, whether it be a cleanup project or a remodeling project, and you need some larger containers, we have them. You just need to call our customer service number, and we will set those up for you. Our folks are really skilled at asking questions about what you need to do, what you're trying to do, and they may then give you the best size container, make sure that, give you instructions on how to handle certain materials. Does it go into the construction, or is it a household hazardous waste? Things like that you might not be certain of. Just with a few questions, they can kind of help you figure that out and make sure that we get you the right size container, the right frequency, and we give you instructions on how to fill it properly. I'll just throw a little plug in here. The one thing that we get often is that big box, the roll-off box. Folks are getting rid of dirt. Maybe we're going to do some remodeling or add an addition, and they throw a lot of dirt in there. When you do a box like that, you can't fill it up more than, you guys got a specific number? How many feet? I'll just say a couple feet. Maybe about that big box, maybe about a third of it is all you can put in there with dirt, maybe even less than that. It's so heavy that it's almost impossible to pick up if you fill that thing up. If you fill it up, we're going to ask you to unload it, and that's not a good thing. Just those are the kinds of things our customer service representatives will help you with. Lastly, if you have questions, and we're here tonight to answer your questions, but after tonight, if you have some, there's lots of information on our websites. If you just go to the website, there's lots of ways to find out how to contact us. You can email us, you can text us, you can call us. We even have folks answering phones on Saturday mornings. We're taking emails almost around the clock, but you can also come visit us as well. And as I mentioned, there's an app now that you can download there with that QR code, and you can learn more about us there too. So I want to thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight to address all of you, and now I'd love to answer some questions if anybody has some. Mm-hmm. So the question is on that peanut butter jar, do we have to remove the lid? And many other jars have lids on them. The answer is no, you don't have to. Yes, there is different types of plastic in them, and the folks that take those plastics know that, and they know how to separate those. So what happens with the glass, and the glass is a good one, it's typically a glass with a metal cap or lid on it. It may even have some plastic inside that lid for sealing purposes. And what we find, if you want to separate it, go ahead. Throw the lid in the trash. But the glass will break in our facility, and the lids get separated off anyway with the metal, and then we recover the glass. So it'll get recycled anyway. Just don't worry about taking the lids off. Even the water bottles, people have said, well, it's got a different type of plastic on top there. Don't worry about it. Yeah, they can separate it. Mm-hmm. The question is do we produce mulch and compost material, and do we give it away to customers? It is available, yes, we can. In the shred event that we will have material available there. We try to promote the mulch, but the compost is available too, and that's something we just have to work out before we have the event to make sure we bring what was best. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing we are looking to do is working with the city staff to identify, if we can, places in the community where we can drop compost and mulch and make it available to the public 24/7 basis. It's kind of hard to offer those places sometimes without security or control of the gates and that, but if we can find some places, we will supply them for free, and just as long as folks come and take it and put it to good use. Yeah. So the comment was that, you fortunately had a chance to go tour one of our facilities and saw what it's like, and if we could offer those tours to more folks, in particular children, that it would really help them to capture how it all works, but also to see their role in it and the importance of it. And the answer is, yeah, we used to do a lot of tours, and then through the pandemic, that all shut down. We are offering more of them now. There's a lot of different civic groups that are requesting tours. We've had schools, and we're starting to accommodate that. Recycling plant's a little easier. The digester's a little harder because it's a lot of trucks are moving past it. It's not quite as safe to bring little children, but we're working on that because we do want to expose it. On the website, again, in the resource tab, there's videos in there that do take you through a tour of the recycling plant and the digester, and so be a good one to take a look at and see if there's some questions get answered there too. Other questions?
Yeah, about cartons. So the term reasonably rinsed was what I got quite a few years ago. So as long as you reasonably rinse, like we're drinking silk, plant protein, but milk or half and half or whatever, as long as you reasonably rinse that all goes in the blue recycled bin.
That's correct. The answer, or the question was, as long as we reasonably rinse containers, of all containers, pretty much that you recycle there, and can it go in the blue? And the answer is yes. The thing that I said earlier is you don't necessarily have to clean them, so they're sparkling clean, but rinsing out chunky material or giving it one quick rinse probably would be okay. Would help a little bit. Mm-hmm. Other questions?
For those who are concerned about like insect smell and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of like paper bags, actually just kind of the way to go to make sure it's concealed and clean bin.
Yeah. The question is with the organic material and people are concerned about insects and or paper bags, one good way to manage that to prevent the insects. The answer is yeah. I think it's very effective. In particular, if you can close the bag, roll it up, and drop it in your green cart, you will keep most of the insects out. Now, I have to be honest, in the summertime when it's really warm, mid-July, August, early September, you probably will see more flies potentially or gnats just naturally with the food. It's just easy for them to lay their eggs and grow again. But if you roll it up, you will greatly diminish that happening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Question is about animals, like raccoons or other animals potentially getting in those green bins with the food in there. We have not seen that happen. Those carts are designed with a heavy enough lid that most animals can't lift it. If they get it knocked over, they might get it open, yeah. But even those carts traditionally are sturdy enough that they don't fall over. But no, we have not seen animals get into those carts. Good questions. All right. Any others? Okay, one more. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I said you guys are doing awesome.
Well, Thank you for that. We appreciate the compliments.
And this is about the non-recyclable plastic bags. So there's really, grocery stores and retail stores are the only place to take those back at this time. Correct? They make it hard to do that anyway.
Yeah. The question was about the grocery bags and grocery stores taking them back, and not everybody's even doing that anymore. And it has been a challenge for those, just because there really isn't a market for them. When they take them back, they really don't have any place to send them. So what do? They probably dispose of them. We're doing our best to find markets. We had a market for a while that we were bailing them up, and that market dried up on us. So a lot of it's impacted by factors from the economic value of the materials around the world, and so we really don't have a lot of control over it. I'm hopeful that somebody will invent better uses of it that are right here and accessible, and we can find a way to use that stuff. And I'm convinced over time, as I'm going to predict the future a little bit, but we're going to continue to mine material out of that gray container. So what's left in there is going to be primarily film. My wife and I, we recycle, and in the end of the week, we barely fill one bag of trash anymore. And I look at it, it's just plastic bags. All of it's just plastic bags from things that we buy, whether it be bread or rolls or stuff like that. We keep looking at what's in that gray can, and over time, they're going to figure out, okay, we can do something with that. There's stuff in there that has value, and someone will invent a way, and then when they do, we'll separate it and we'll send it off. And for long, we're just going to be staring at that empty gray can and going, gee, isn't this great? That's what we want.
One thing that I think I remember from my tour was 2 years ago, was the glass is not any good. When I was with cheap glass, I was buying beer. I would get glasses that seemed so noble. I ended up just going in Europe. Free glass. The glass seemed so good, and cans seemed so low. And then at EDCO, what I learned was that glass, you can't recycle it, goes to the landfill. And if you take the can, you have to put it in trash together with awkwardly.
Yeah. Not exactly. The question is the glass something that's still readily recyclable, or is it a problem in the stream? Yeah, it is today. But if you read into the periodicals and things, you're going to see that many states do not recycle glass. We're fortunate we can because of our CRV program that we have in California. When we buy glass bottles of liquids and cans, we pay to the state of California, the CRV, call it a deposit. And then when that comes back through, when we recycle it, we can get that deposit back from the state. So it helps fund the program. It does, actually. It does. Yeah. In some places, some states, they don't have that program, and there isn't enough value to do that. But in California, there is, and the glass is getting recycled and reused and remolded into something else. Yeah. Okay. Got a question in the back there. Bamboo. The answer is yes. We can take most all green waste materials, including palm fronds, which a lot of compost sites won't take or can't take, but we can. Yeah.
This is kind of a futuristic question I'm looking at. Hopefully a green planet. Do you, in your travels, have any idea if they're going to be able to dig up landfills in the future and produce energy out of that? You've been around a lot, so any kind of things have ever come out of that?
So the question is, well, one day will we be mining our landfills, digging them up and taking out materials that we buried over the many years? I think the answer is probably yes at some point. It is a source of resources from the standpoint of inert metals and aggregate metals. There's things in there that we can recover if we need to. The other thing about it is there's some countries that have a technology right now where they're basically, use the word zapping, but they are using an energy that can convert it into energy, renewable energy, and taking material right out of a landfill would work really well for that. Super expensive. It's not, viable here economically, but it's there. And someday we probably will go to that for sources of energy and resources. Yeah. Question is that EDCO recycles everything, and we don't own landfills, so what happens to the trash we pick up? It does go to landfills, not landfills we own, other companies own them, and we do have to use them, unfortunately, because we all produce still enough landfill waste, but the mission is just keep reducing that and reducing that, and as a company, we don't want to own them at all. We want to promote the recycling side of things. We do use that for our operations in San Diego. The question was the landfill in San Diego, do we use that one? And yeah, it is being used by some of our operations in the city of San Diego. Okay, back in the back. The question is how does organic waste turn into renewable natural gas? Is that the question? So the microbes that are, I'll go back here, maybe I can back that slide. There we go. This slide kind of shows it, but when we introduce the organic material, the green waste, food waste mixed together into the tanks, there's microbes in there, and those microbes they love the organic material, and they go to town on it and break it down. Very similar to what happens in a compost pile. The difference is a compost pile has aerobic bacteria, something that they thrive on oxygen and in organic material, and they break it down. In this tank, it's an anaerobic bacteria or microbe that doesn't want oxygen. In fact, oxygen kills it. So it works really well in that confined environment, and it naturally breaks down the organic material into methane, and I'm not sure if it's CO2, but it's methane anyway, is the principal gas that comes out. Okay. Well, again, thank you. If you need more information, you can always contact us. We'll be happy to address it. There are some caddies back there for all of you for coming out tonight. Feel free to take one home if you want another one. And we look forward to doing more of these events in the future. So thank you for the opportunity.
So again, thank you for coming to the presentation, and thank you, EDCO, for partnering with the city and helping meet our sustainable waste management practice goals. And you can see that we're being as environmentally responsible as we can. So thank you again, and I'd like to thank Leslie Webb Blanco, our management assistant in Public Works, and also Caitlin Elliott Norgrove over here is our Climate Action Program Manager, and they've kind of been behind the scenes in helping coordinate and put this presentation together. So thank you all. So that concludes our presentation, and if you need to get in contact with me, I have my business cards in the back, or you can talk to me afterwards. Thank you.